Welcome to the Loyalty Builders podcast, where together with the top loyalty and product experts, we discuss how to maximize customer acquisition, engagement, and retention by using a loyalty engine. Building loyalty is complex, but with the right toolkit and market-proven knowledge, you will maximize the use of your products and services faster than learning from your own mistakes. Subscribe to our newsletter and twice a week get tried and tested tactics to build and improve customer loyalty. Hi everyone. Today we're discussing loyalty tech in the fuel retail industry and the reasons for transitioning from monolithic software to a modern composable approach. The goal of this episode is to inspire fuel retailers to adopt composable technology by showcasing the opportunities it offers. Our guest is Łukasz Słoniewski, CEO at Omnivy and an expert in implementing and integrating loyalty technology to achieve true omnichannel experiences. Omnivy recently published a white paper titled Composable Tech Stack for Fuel Retail Loyalty, explaining how the tech architecture for fuel retail loyalty should look in the era of composable, cloud-native MarTech tools. You'll find the link in the episode description. So without further ado, here's Łukasz. Hi Łukasz, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Hi Eric, very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Brilliant. And I know that today we are going to discuss building tech stacks in the fuel industry. And as the context for our discussion, we've chosen the white paper that you have just released. So congratulations on that. The title of the white paper is Composable Tech Stack for Fuel Retail Loyalty. And I believe that it actually explains, the topic really well.
Yeah, thank you so much. We've put some effort. We've tried to combine all of our experience coming from the projects that we've been engaged with multiple fuel retailers around the world. And that's the whole situation for them is changing a lot. They should be thinking about adapting their loyalty tech stack. And this is what the white paper is about.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's dive in, but I would like to start with the big picture. So if you could tell us exactly, what do fuel retailers need to rethink when it comes to their approach to loyalty technology?
Yeah, so basically the main thing is why they need to start rethinking that, because that's the main genesis of that change, because their environment is changing quite dynamically right now. So they need to switch their whole operations from the product-based business to the consumer-oriented business. And that's mainly because the characteristics of their businesses is changing a lot recently. They are selling and will be selling even less traditional fuel. Even KPMG predicts that only 20% of their revenue is going to be coming from selling the traditional fuel on the gas station until 2030. So not that far away. They are extending their convenient product offering, even creating service hubs for their local neighborhoods. So that opens a new range of opportunities for data-driven targeting, much more personalized marketing. So in that context, loyalty systems and also the cross-category partner networks will be gaining a completely new level of value and the day-to-day relevance for the consumers. So that's a big change. We also have a huge rise of electric vehicles, which also impacts a lot the amount of time that people are spending on the fuel station, which means that also the importance of offering more pleasant way to spend more time on the fuel station, get some digital content, get a pleasant way to spend time to buy more products or more services that could be offered there. That's another thing that that is changing. Um, so basically, we can summarize it with, the characteristics of the service is changing. The fact how much time they are going to be spending during that visit at the gas station, that's a big change. Number one that we can talk about. Then we also see that clients are just getting more used to the phygital experiences. So they are buying, not only fueling their lives, or even like that's not the majority of what they are buying. So they're used to buying with Nike, Sephora, Amazon, where this experience is completely different. So it's more like phygital. They are instantly switching from one channel to another. They start their journey online, they switch to mobile, they finish in store, and this is something that they are used to. So we have a different customer expectations that are evolving. Those people are used to seamless omni-channel experiences. So what the consumers expect regarding how their customer journey looks like is a big change. Number two, they don't have to count, fill the tank, stand in the line, pay for the fuel, and leave. They all spend more time there, buy more products and services. So also the journey needs to evolve into more connected omni-channel experience. And then the third element that is crucial is the growing importance of the mobile application for fuel retailers, because their clients are actually becoming truly mobile first. They want that mobile application to improve their shopping experience, and become this kind of like multi-service hub. Not only provide a digital card and offers for the members, but also include some mobile payments, pre-ordering, digital experiences like virtual reality. This is what is expected. So this is completely new reality for those fuel retailers that they need to respond to.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. I can imagine that in the past it used to be like thinking about the core product, allowing you to use your card, and that's pretty much it, right? Because it was basically the basic rewards program. But all of those factors that you've mentioned just like shows you how the landscape changes, and it's not only retail that is competing against retail, like fuel retail competing against fuel retail, but as you've mentioned, we are basically used to the sort of like digital space entering our private lives, right? And then it changes the landscape. So perhaps if you could also tell us a bit more about the specifics of a fuel retailer. How does it differ? Is it in a way more complex, or is it, if you could give us a look into the specifics of a fuel retail business at this moment?
Yeah, fuel retail is very specific in that sense, especially if it comes to the loyalty programs, because those loyalty programs must be designed to work across different customer experiences and also underlying business models, because we need to know that, in case of fuel retail, we have different structures. We have company-owned sites, dealer-owned sites, as well as a large number of franchises, concessions, and brand offerings that are present those days. So having a multi-mechanic program and the partner collaboration is a key here. So that's the organization side of it. But then from the technology point of view, it's also very difficult and complex tech architecture that they have. It's way different than in other retail industries. So we have multiple systems at the fuel stations that are typically part of a broader suite of systems known as forecourt management systems. And those systems are integrated with fuel dispensers, car washes, price polls, and a lot of other components. So the integration of loyalty technology into that whole stack is a bit more difficult than in case of other retail sectors. also because of the specific standards and interfaces that are used. And also, those POS systems are difficult to integrate due to their reliance on various hardware components, such as card terminals, barcode scanners, and also an adherence to local fiscal regulations and partnerships with payment service providers. So it's a bit more complex than usual. Plus, a big specifics of fuel retail is that the loyalty systems, historically, they started to act as a CRM, CDP, like basically the systems that started to collect the customer data. Because before launching loyalty programs, those retailers didn't have a reason and a way to collect customer data. They never had any e-commerce. They never had like any subscriptions or any other processes that would require from them to start collecting customer data, unlike other businesses like airlines, telcos, banks, or whoever else. So that means that a lot of the customer data started to sit in the loyalty technology, while it's not really a place for it. And, those technologies are not evolving that fast if it comes to efficiently managing the customer data and connecting multiple data sources. So we have specialized tools for that. But historically, we have a situation that actually fuel retailers, they usually keep that customer data in their loyalty platforms, which makes it not necessarily very efficient. And then, as I already mentioned, the mobile applications being like the key element of that interaction with the client between the visits, during the visits. It's also kind of like important factor to consider here, because those clients doesn't have any reason to go to a website, to read an email. They are not very interested in that. So that mobile application is a focal point for that customer interaction. I believe that those are the key differentiators here.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you've mentioned the complexity, and yeah, as you've mentioned, there are like so many different points. Even like when we think about collecting data and making sense of it, right? So if you could perhaps explain in what way are fuel retailers like dealing with this complexity at this moment, and then just share a sort of like a view on the composable architecture, and just maybe tell us a bit more about the potential benefits of actually replatforming.
Sure. So basically, right now, majority of the fuel retailers are working with the technology that they started to build many years ago. And obviously, they were one of the first that really widely applied loyalty programs and loyalty strategies within their businesses. Probably next to airlines, this is a type of business where you would be surprised if there is no loyalty initiative covered. But it has its consequences, because there were two main approaches that those those fuel retailers took. So either they started to build their solutions for loyalty in-house, or they were buying solutions that were available on the market 5-10 years ago, written in completely different technology, completely different architecture, monolith tools. And basically, those solutions that were built in-house, they were very tightly coupled with the rest of the stack. Obviously, they were perfectly blending into the processes at the forecourt, but at the same time, they are very limited right now. They are evolving very slowly because it's a lot of complexity behind it, and lack of internal resources. There's always a fight for the priorities, and we know that everyone right now is moved to AI projects using generative AI. So it's very difficult to get those internal resources to be constantly working on the development of loyalty mechanics, because it's always very difficult. And then we have a large cost of developing them, because developing a specific functionality for just one company, it's always not the best efficient way of doing that. And comparing to all the new SaaS technologies that are right on the market right now, where obviously a lot of clients are just, paying for that development with their subscriptions, it's always more effective. And then the alternative was obviously to buy some kind of market solution. Obviously, there were a lot of great loyalty solutions 5, 10, 15 years ago. But those solutions also evolved. They are built in a specific architecture, monolithic architecture. They were growing, and the fact is that they have been implemented in the times where the approach to building technology stacks and technology solutions was completely different. So it was much bigger openness to deliver highly customized solutions, to try to differentiate on the market by your IT and adapting that IT to your specific ideas. No one is doing that anymore, but those fuel retailers stayed with that. And very often they have a loyalty technology that was extended for certain markets to better adapt to their local specifics, to the needs, and to the gaps that those loyalty platforms were having. Because instead of finding another specialized small solution and try to combine it, this architecture didn't allow for that. So actually, a new components and new modules were built, but they are not that easy to evolve and to develop right now. So what they are left with are the big, large technological solutions that are very expensive to maintain right now and very difficult to add innovations there. Because with that monolithic architecture, we have a lot of dependencies. So building new feature, building new options in one place actually can impact hundreds of other places in that system. And this is all like a huge spaghetti, that you don't really understand. Like if you move that place here, that element here, like what's really going to happen? So releasing anything new requires a huge regression testing. It's a lot of dependencies. It's a big process. So it takes months from the idea to pop out to actually delivering that, months and a lot of money.
Sure. Oh, thank you for explaining that, because I especially appreciate the fact that you've mentioned like the difference, how actually the times change, because it used to be about going digital. And as you've mentioned, like at that time, like companies that decided to go digital, that was innovative enough. It was sort of like suddenly you actually were standing out from the competition because you had this, let's say, multi-channel experience, right? So you were like thinking about how to implement any digital experiences to your product or service. But at this point, everybody is digital. And now it's the question of actually how to build teams, how to use the right tech in order to be able to use it in an innovative way and basically change at least as fast as the times change, but perhaps to be innovative enough to be a leader, right, in a certain like industry or category. So now if you could maybe explain a bit of the potential benefits of using the composable architecture and actually, like switching from the monolithic systems or the in-house built systems that require a lot of maintenance and it's so now if we could just perhaps move into the current solutions that might allow people to be, or like companies to be more innovative and a bit future-proof the stack.
Sure. So yeah, I believe that like the biggest reason for making that change is, except of what she said, so being faster, more agile in delivering those innovations, is also that actually building loyalty is way more complex than it was. So some time ago it was enough and you were able to differentiate by the rewards that you've been offering, or even just by offering some kind of rewards by the program. Right now, it has ended. So right now you need to be way smarter, and building a loyalty means you need to provide a perfect customer experiences. So actually, if I want to define how to build a loyalty right now, it's a mix of at least three important elements. So first of all, there's a seamless experience that you provide to your clients. So a seamless omnichannel experience. So they need to be able to have a very pleasant journey with use of your physical location, digital spaces, screens, and mobile application. So that requires a combination and interoperability of multiple systems. So you need to have a good architecture to actually facilitate that. Then you need to be able to create those constant appreciation of customer business, create those moments of joy, moments of magic, as we call them. So to do that in a good way, you need to understand those clients better. You need to perfectly understand how their journey looks like, what they are doing, what they are expecting. So only basing on the data that you normally keep in your loyalty program database might not be enough. And then the third element, as we were saying, fuel retail is changing a lot. It's going to be much more services, much more products to offer. So, and clients are actually getting used to better and better relevancy of the offers that they get from other retailers. So we have leaders in personalization, in adapting that offering to your specific needs, and fuel retail needs to do the same. So actually that kind of like fight for relevancy and personalization is something that is also very important here. And again, sticking just to the data you have in your loyalty program and to the capabilities and functionalities that loyalty platforms offers is not enough. You need a broader set of tools and technology to be able to cover and deal with that. So to build a loyalty program and build a real emotional loyalty among your clients, you need the whole marketing technology stack instead of just loyalty system. And obviously, a good loyalty system that is able to work in that kind of composable stack of marketing tools is a crucial element of that. And you need to carefully select the solution that is going to be well fitting here. But that wouldn't be enough to just stay with it. So if we're talking about the composable loyalty technology stack, we're saying about like relying or more like stitching together best of breed software as a service solutions from innovative players rather than buying it or building a single monolith solution that covers all of your needs right now. And what is the difference, or like if that's not clear, what that composable architecture means? Like a good analogy and a good example that I tend to use when explaining that is like, just imagine that you're building a treehouse. In kind of like a monolithic approach, you would just buy a pre-made treehouse kit, that has everything you need. It has the wood, it has the nails, it has a roof, the ladder, all in one big package. And that's great because you don't need to worry about anything, but you have to use all of the parts that they give you, even if you don't need some of them, even if you don't like some of them, even if some of those elements are worse than something that you would buy in another kit. So in composable approach, you would just buy those different parts separately, like the wood, the nails, the roof, the ladder, so on. So that way you can really choose exactly what do you need, and you just put it together in a way that it works best for your treehouse. If you want to change something later, like, you would like to add a slide or a swing because you never thought about it in the first place, it's just way easier to do that with that composable approach. And the thing is that all those producers of those elements understood that. And if you choose a proper solutions, it's going to be easier because everything is going to fit with each other, or at least you're going to have tools to, connect it together. With that monolithical approach, usually it's completely opposite. So, you need to use their components and their parts because nothing else is going to be working really well.
Sure. Oh, thank you. I really like the analogy here. It's brilliant because even, I was thinking about when you've mentioned the slide, right? So if you rely on a company that is developing slides for a number of years and have tested it in different conditions, in different, perhaps it will survive winter, summer, and all the seasons, right? And it will be still working. Absolutely. And in this case, the monolithic approach is basically limiting you to the set that you get instead of actually, making the best of the components that are available in order to create something truly unique that is just focused on your needs. Awesome way to look at that. So I imagine that there are quite a few people that are right now investigating this challenge, and they are, they have already started planning some innovation here, and obviously they understand the need for a change. You also explained it in a brilliant way, so I believe that now it's all really visible. What would be your advice here? Like what might be the sort of action plan towards switching from the monolithic platform, or perhaps something that you have built in house a while back ago and right now is really expensive and is actually holding you back? What can you do in order to move towards this flexible, optimal tech stack that will actually allow your program to compete on customer experience, as you mentioned, not only on rewards?
Yeah. So basically, what we need to understand is that it's not going to be, one day job. That's migration from that big monolithic loyalty platform that's deeply embedded into your tech stack and processes. Might be a complex project, but it just releases so many benefits that it's worth doing that. But that definitely requires some skills and preparations. You need to plan it right. So that's why we are always recommending a kind of like a phased incremental approach, using something like a strangler pattern. So you don't rip everything out at once. Instead of that, you just start replacing the most decoupled components first, while you keep the existing platform running in parallel. So it's definitely a lower risk, and it lets you make a progress toward that modern composable vision step by step. But the benefits are very clear here. So first of all, we have that agility. So you're able to very quickly add the new features, new elements to that stack. It empowers the developers to select and integrate the specialized tools tailored to a very specific needs that they have. So it's unlike monolithic software, which actually pose constraints and hinder innovation. So then we also have a time to market, which is way better because instead of testing the whole stack before releasing a new version of it, you're just testing out this whole portion of the whole ecosystem. The interoperability, that's the core of the architecture that just natively supports seamless integration with external services and platforms, which is even more important in the fuel retail, where multiple different services has to be connected: mobile payments, pre-ordering, digital games, and so on. So right now we need to think about the platforms that actually enables that, and also the cost efficiency, because we've mentioned that building upgrading that takes time with resources and so on. But basically, those composable architectures have more to offer here because, first of all, we have that scalability of certain elements. You don't need to scale the whole platform if just a part of it grows, and that's the usual case of monolithic platforms. When you need to send more emails, you need to upgrade the whole stack, even if that doesn't impact the amount of promotions that you're going to be offering or amount of transactions that you're going to be offering. So that's extremely important because right now the data, the size of the data that we are starting to collect in certain spaces is growing dramatically. So having to adapt the whole stack to the amount of data growing just in one element, like for example, the amount of data that we want to collect from the mobile experiences or the mobile behaviors of that client, doesn't make any sense. So that kind of composable architecture allows you to scale only the component that actually use that data. So the project might be complex, but you can prepare for that phase it out, and definitely the benefits are huge here.
Awesome. Could you also maybe clarify a bit how to mitigate this crucial moment of transitioning? Because I believe that, it's a tough decision to make, but it's a good one, obviously. We understand the benefits, we understand the possibilities. So I guess that the motivation is high, but there are also some things, especially in the corporate world, that hold us back because, big decisions are big budgets. There's a big learning curve. There's time, as you've mentioned. So how to mitigate this transitioning from the monolithic structure or the software that you've built yourself towards the composable stack that you are recommending?
So the key here is going to be right planning and phasing of that.
So you've described the complexity of the different components, be it monolithic or composable at this point. And you have mentioned the fact that you need to be ready to update individual components without the need to update the whole stack. So this is actually the sort of like a benefit that you've mentioned is assigned to the composable approach. Could you maybe list all of the elements, or at least a few crucial elements from your perspective, that belong to a composable tech stack that will allow you to compete on the customer experience instead of just utilizing a reward program?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the whole idea for that composable loyalty technology stack is to be able to better respond to all those challenges that I mentioned. So being able to better understand your clients, better personalize your interactions with those people, and better manage the whole reward offering that you have for them. But to being able to do that, we've divided our reference architecture into 4 different layers. So we need to have, first of all, a customer data layer. And we have a number of technologies that are actually that kind of layer consists of. So we have a data store that is kind of like storing all of that data. We have a customer data platform. We have a data visualization tooling, and the very important layer, which is the advanced analytics and AI. So it's not enough to have a BI as you would probably think of, or just analytical elements of your loyalty system to deal with that. So you need a very good data strategy and underlying tools to build that. Then on top of that, we have something that we call loyalty and customer experience layer. And those are usually consisting of 3 different classes of tools. So there's a loyalty tooling, which is obviously managing the points, tiers, coupons and so on. But on top of that, in that layer, we're also including marketing automation, so the whole distribution of all of those offers, and also customer experience and personalization tools. We have a growing category here, very well specialized systems that are able to understand the data, communicate with CDP, with the data layer, and very well personalize not only the messages that we send, because that's the first idea, but the whole content that is served in multiple channels. Then on top of that, we need the integration layer. And the integration layer is a middleware for connecting the data, but there's also the identity management tooling, and also the content management systems. And finally, the fourth layer are the loyalty touch points. So any touch points that the customers could interact with. So that's a mobile application, but that could be also the salesperson at the POS talking to that customer. So whatever we show them at the POS screen might be also a part of that whole interaction strategy and could be treated as a touch point. But so this is something that we explained and described in details in our white paper. So I highly recommend you to download it and check it out. All of that architecture is described in details. We explain what are those pieces of that architecture doing in that whole set, what objects they are responsible for, and also what are the recommended technologies that follows that composable MarTech stack rules and fits very well and would serve those needs very well. Obviously, with open loyalty in the loyalty space as one of those.
Awesome. Yeah, obviously. Thank you for that, because definitely, there's going to be the link to the white paper in the description of this episode. Also is a great moment for some community engagement here. So to all our listeners, if you have any questions that you would like to ask to Łukasz, so let us know, and then we will definitely get back to this conversation and record another episode to discuss all the elements or any sort of challenges, problems, any sort of questions that you have. So feel free to let us know what is most interesting for you. And I think that it's sweet spot, because we have been talking around 30 minutes, and I believe that this is just the sort of a proper length for many of our listeners. Let's maybe park it here. Is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think that just one thing. Just being a fuel retailer, you shouldn't be waiting. So the fuel, you're kind of your landscape is shifting rapidly, and the customer expectations are only going to keep rising. So if you stick with those legacy loyalty systems, you're just going to get lapped by competitors at some point of time. Those who embrace those modern and composable architectures, it's going to be easier for them to adapt quickly. So if you have the same feeling, there is a good material for you to go through, or you can just contact me and we can try to evaluate how to do it in your case.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the time for a change is now. The link to the white paper is in the description. Thank you so much, Łukasz, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Cool. I completely agree that customer expectations will continue to rise, making it the perfect time to transition from legacy to composable software. Now, let's wrap up with a few action steps. First, you'll find helpful links in the podcast description. Second, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter for more valuable content related to this episode. And don't forget to stay tuned for the next one. Have a great day, everyone. The Loyalty Builders podcast is brought to you by the team at Open Loyalty, an API-first loyalty engine that allows you to implement loyalty and gamification features into your tech stack faster than developing them from scratch.